Michelle with Pink and Maine. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to be creating cards with the February 2024 Crafty Courtyard kit. The theme is Pop Flowers. I hope it inspires you to pull out your Pop Flowers kit and create some cards with it. So let's get started. I've got all the parts and pieces I need for our first card. It's going to be a sweet and simple card. That's my favorite kind, sweet and simple. I've got an A2 size side folding card base with our moss cardstock. So when folded, it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. With my stitched rectangles, set 1 and 2 dies, I cut out the pretty pink gingham from the Pop Flowers paper pad and a piece of white cardstock to layer behind it. And I'm going to go ahead and glue those down to the card base. I've got another 2 pieces that I've cut with our stitched rectangle dies and our scallop rectangle dies. These dies are not part of the kit, but they're a great essential set of dies. And I'm going to go ahead and glue the scallop die piece down onto the card base right in the center. I cut this from our Sunny Sky cardstock. So here's my card base so far. I'm going to set this aside and we're going to do some stenciling. So I've got the stencil that came in the kit, and it really has 2 pieces, as you can see, or 2 areas. We've got our flowers on the right and we've got our leaves on the left here. We're going to be doing some layering stenciling. I have my Misty sticky mat, which we do sell these on our website, just to help hold my paper in place and my stencil in place as I do my stenciling. So I'm just going to pick a spot on my stencil where I've got a nice bit of flowers, and then I'm just going to press that down so the sticky mat will help hold the stencil and the paper still while I do my ink blending. I'm going to be using these ink dauber wands. We sell these at pinkandmaine.com. They're made by my friend Yoli at the Maker Session. They're an awesome tool for adding ink through stencils, especially in small areas. They're so easy to use, and they have replacement sponges on them. So you usually just pop it out. I was going to show you, I just keep mine in a little zip top bag, and I keep all the colored ones just so I can pull them out and use them with the different colors. For the flowers, I'm going to be combining our Construction, which is an orange ink pad, and our Dress Shop with a nice bright pink. I already have a sponge tip that has the Dress Shop pink ink on it. They hold a lot of ink, so I'm not even going to have to go into the ink pad quite yet. I'm just going to use the ink that's on the dauber first, and that might be all I need. They hold a lot of ink in these little sponges, so it's always good to test it on scratch paper before you go to your project, just to make sure you get the intensity of ink that you're looking for. And I'm just doing an up and down motion, just dabbing it onto the paper. So simple and easy. It doesn't take a lot of effort. They're easy to hold in your hand because it's a little longer wand. A lot easier to me than the little sponges that have the finger thing and you put your finger in it to hold. Those are kind of small and a little more difficult for me to use, but this is nice and easy. And see there, I didn't even have to go in that ink at all. I already had from my last time I used the dauber, I didn't clean it off, and I had plenty of ink for those flowers. So I'm just gonna flip it over and use the other side with the orange. I'm just going to go around. You might not see the orange too much. Just go around maybe the edges of the flower. Like I said, with these daubers, you can really get into whatever area you want. Just add a tiny bit of variation in the color of the flowers. And that will do. Now to kind of clean the ink daubers, I just tap it into my microfiber cloth several times just to get the excess ink off the sponge, and then I'll store it away for next time that I need it. For the leaves, I'll be using our green ink pad, which is the Park, and our teal, which is Lakeside, just to add a little extra darker color like I did with the orange. Just for a little color variation. So I'm kind of in the upper left portion of that, so I know I need to be in the upper left portion of the leaf side. So I can just, and the leaves really can go wherever you like. Once I have it where I want it, and just kind of press it into that sticky mat, and I'll get our inks open and ready to go. I'm going to turn the stencil away from me because I don't want to put my hand in the pink and orange like I've already done a couple times already. So I have two brand new sponges. I got a little pink on the edge of this one, but that won't interfere with the top of the sponge where we're going to do our inking. So just tap into the ink and then tap onto the paper. Simple as that, super quick and easy. And then I want just a touch of the teal. So I'm not going to get a ton of the teal on the dauber. Just a little that I can tap into the corner of the leaves. It's just going to add a bit of dimension to the color. There we go. I also, now that I'm done with the dauber wands, I will tap them into the microfiber cloth to get the excess ink off the ends, and I store them in that same little plastic bag where I have the replacement sponges. I'll carefully peel the stencil away, and I will clean that off in a bit. To clean my stencils, I take our Crafty cleaner and just spray it over the stencil and wipe it down with the microfiber cloth. and just peel off our stenciled paper, and then I'm just gonna cover this sticky mat with that clear acetate that comes on it. So I'll bring back our card over, and our panel is going to go right here in the center. But before we add that, I want to add a little ribbon. So I found in my stash some bright green ribbon, but it matches that moss cardstock really well. So I'm going to wrap it around my small stenciled panel. So I'm just going to put some adhesive on the ends of the ribbon at the back. I just want to adhere it wrapped around the back. And again, that's just ribbon from my stash. I just thought it went well with the paper, and I love adding ribbon to my projects. And now I'm just going to adhere down our stenciled panel. Now I want to tie a knot with this other piece of ribbon. So wherever the knot's going to go, I just put a little drop of adhesive on the ribbon. It'll hold the knot in place. Just keep it there. And then I just slide the ribbon under the ribbon that's on the card, and we just tie a simple knot. Just pull it tight and then press your finger just to flatten it into that adhesive a little bit. And I'm just going to clean up the ends of the ribbon with my scissors. Just cut off the excess. And I've stamped and die cut this stamp Hello Friend from the stamp set in the kit. And I'm just going to adhere that. It's kind of going off of that stenciled panel a little bit. Just add some interest to your eye to go off the side there. You could also pop it up with a little foam tape for added dimension, but I'm just gluing it straight down onto the card. And there is our first card. Simple and sweet, and I'm ready to give it to a friend. For our next card, I've got a white A2 side folding card base, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 when folded. And I've got a couple layering pieces here. The first one, I've used our new zigzag rectangle dies. So it has this fun little pinking edge around it with a stitched inner liner. So I'm going to glue that down to the card base first. I've cut this out of our Sunny Sky cardstock, which is part of the kit. This zigzag die is not part of the kit, but I thought it would make a nice background for this card. I've cut a piece of the pattern paper from the Pop Flowers paper pad that's got these little tiny butterflies all over it. It's tone on tone green. And I used the Pop Flowers die that does the butterfly, and I cut it out at the top. So you've got this wing that pops up here, and then all these little flowers on the side. You just go around and you pop up the little petals. That's what makes it the pop flowers dies. Because the petals to the flowers and the butterfly wings, they pop up off the paper. It adds a fun element of dimension to the cards. Look at that, so fun. And then I've added a piece of our construction cardstock to layer behind that. So I'm going to glue these two layers together. Keep in mind, when you glue this together, you don't want to put glue on any of the pieces that are popping up on the other side. So now there's our panel. Isn't that fun how that orange just pops through and you've got everything just kind of popping off the paper there? Adds such a fun layer of dimension, like I said. And you can slide this into the envelope, it'll go flat. But since you've popped it up already, when you pull it out, they should kind of pop back up. I want to add a little other element to this. So I'm going to add this striped piece of paper down at the bottom. This is from the paper pad as well. So I'm going to glue that on. And I'm going to add some ribbon on this card as well. I found some orange ribbon in my stash and I thought it went well with the orange construction color cardstock. So again, I'm going to just put some adhesive on the ends of the back so it can wrap around the back of that panel. Whenever I've got two pattern papers coming together, I like to give a border in between. It just kind of finishes it off. It makes them just kind of work together better and not be that clash of a line where they come together. See, doesn't that finish it off just so much more? Love it. Now we can glue this panel down to our card front. I want to add a knot to the ribbon on the side here, so I'm going to put a little dot of adhesive where I want that knot to sit. Press my finger into it, and then I'm just going to trim the ends again with my scissors. There we have the addition of the little knot. And all that's left to do is to add our sentiment. I've stamped the happy birthday onto some of the Sunny Sky cardstock and then used the dies to cut it out. And I've added a little foam adhesive to the back just for some dimension. Pop it off the card a little. And there is a cute happy birthday card. I love the dies in this set. For our next card, I've cut a top folding A2 size card with the Salon cardstock that's in your kit. Nice pink. I've used the wreath die in the pop flower dies on this little blue panel, and I cut it with our notched corner dies, which is not part of the kit, but I thought it added a nice little shape for my card front. I cut this out of the Sunny Sky, and again, you just, once you die cut the wreath, you go around and pop up all your little flower petals, and on this one there's little tiny butterflies that pop up. They just kind of pop up off the paper, give that extra dimension. Now you could just glue this down to the pink card base and the pink would show through and that would be pretty. But I took it a step further and I took one of our black toner sheets and I made my own foil paper. So I took a black toner sheet and foiled it with our ombre pastel foil. And then I'm just going to put that behind the wreath. So you're going to see hints of those foil colors come through. Just adds that little extra sparkle and shine to the card. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these two together. Again, keep in mind you don't want to put any glue on any of those petals that are popping up on the other side. And then I will glue these to the card front. Now from that same foil piece of paper that we created, I had to cut it a little bit smaller than the blue panel so it would fit behind it. So I thought, why not use that little strip that I cut out? It's super shiny, and just add it across the bottom just as a little accent piece. So if you don't want to add the foil part here, you could always use a piece of paper from the paper pad behind this or another color of cardstock just to add a little extra color behind the wreath. And then add that same paper you used behind here, just add a little strip of it at the bottom. Just adds a little extra accent. For this card I cut the sentiment thank you and then die cut it out. Added some foam tape to the back for dimension. And you could either add your sentiment down here at the bottom, which would look nice, but I think I'm going to add it right here in the center of the wreath. So there is the card so far, but in your kit, you were given some sticky pearls that match all the papers, and I'm going to use the pearls to embellish the card just a little bit further. I'm going to put the pearls in the centers of the flowers here. So I've added some pearls to the center of the flowers, and I like how that looks. And I might add just a couple more around the wreath just for some added embellishment. And there we go, our finished card. I love that. For our last card, I've got an A2 side folding card that I'm going to turn horizontally. I've got a couple layers to go on the card first. So I've got a piece of that really pretty shiny blue specialty paper that was in the kit. And then I've cut that tone-on-tone blue with the little butterflies to layer on top of that. So I'll glue these down to the card base. And I cut that just slightly smaller than my card base, so I have a thin white border around it. Next, I took a piece of the orange construction cardstock in the kit, and I cut it again with our notched corner dies. I just thought that was a nice die to use. It just adds that little extra something with those little corners taken out. It has stitching around it. And then I used the pop flower dies that are in the kit to cut the butterfly again. And again, I just popped up all the little flower petals so that they pop off the front of the card. And I cut a piece of that shiny blue cardstock to layer behind it. So I'll glue these together and then glue them down to the front of the card. here's our card so far. I love how that shiny blue paper shines underneath the flowers and the butterfly. So I stamped onto Sunny Sky cardstock thinking of you, and I die cut it out, and then I put a little foam adhesive on the back. I think I'll add it right up here on the top. Thinking of you. And then the last thing I want to do is just add some of those pearls again as some embellishment. There, I put some of the pearls in the center of the flowers. And there is our last card. Thank you so much again for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed these cards we've created with our Pop Flowers Crafty Courtyard kit. As of right now, you can still head over to pinkandmane.com and subscribe and get this kit as your first. I have a feeling it will sell out, but I hope this inspires you to pull your kit out and create with it. Until next time, my friends, keep living the creative life.